Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light, and this is my podcast. Today, my guest host is Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hello.
Sorry,
Sorry, I
right
was
before the
dry.
podcast started, I embarrassed Rob. Um, we will not have moderator Maya today, but we are promoting Josh to moderator today. So if you have any questions, he'll be answering them. And if you have any questions that need immediate attention, he will let me know. We are going to talk about. Oh, wait. And of course, we have our producer, Jeremy.
Heyo.
So you want to say hello, Jeremy? um, so fairy tales. We are going to talk about those and how comforting they were as a child and how sweet and all our childhood memories having heard these stories, our parents or our grandparents or our school teachers reading us these stories. And as it turns out, these stories are horrific. And we're going to tell you the meanings and the true stories behind these fairy tales, and you'll never see your childhood again. So, I'm excited for this. This is going to be one of my favorite podcasts. I don't I don't know why. There's a sadistic side of me apparently who is pretty excited about these creepy, twisted fairy tales. Um, Also, as you may or may not know, YouTube has decided not to monetize my channel. I want to keep doing the same content that I've always done, so I'm not going to. I mean, I don't even know what I would do to change it, but I'm not going to, gentrify my channel. So I do have a Patreon account. If you're on Twitch right now, there's a button down there. And if you would like to subscribe to me on Twitch, there's a button down there too. And I've updated the Patreon to include what the tiers are if you guys want to take a look. Of course, it's not mandatory. I'm just letting you guys know. And that money will go towards being able to make some merchandise that we can sell and give away, which I'm pretty excited about. I want a Chupacabra shirt. And I have my first Patreon, and it is Rob. Thank you, Rob.
That's fine.
I'm so excited. We will be having next week I'll have a podcast with Jory, and then after that I'm taking a week off of podcasts. Rob will be filling in with whatever Rob wants to fill it in with. But the reason I'm going to take those 2 weeks, it ends up being 2 weeks. We're going to start on August 1st. We're going to start a 5-week podcast series about 9/11 conspiracy theories. And we're each taking Jeremy, me, Rob, Jory, we're each taking a section of the timeline, and we're going to talk about the conspiracy theories attached to that particular part of the timeline. And then the 5th week will be sort of us sitting around and discussing all the information that we've learned in the previous 4 weeks. Now, as a link to the Patreon or the Twitch, if you become a Patreon member or sub to me on Twitch, we're going to start having some calls come through in which you will be allowed to call and ask us a question about the topic we're on, or I don't care, even a different topic. And keep it clean, though. And that would be fun on the 5th week to be able to have you be able to take part in the conversation and see what your feedback is. And we're going to come at this in a fact-based manner and other people's opinions, because there are facts, but then there are some opinions that will undoubtedly be included. And in that case, we're going to tell you ahead of time that we're not saying that this is what we believe. We're going to present these sides to you and let you make your own mind up. But it would be fun to have a lot of talk between the listeners and us. That would be interesting to see what you are thinking. One more thing before we get started, I want to thank Mad Meerkat, who sent me a very nice gift in the mail. And it was so nice that I told him I was going to thank him on my next podcast. So I really just want to say that was very sweet. Now, Rob.
Yep.
Are you ready to ruin some childhood memories?
Certainly am.
Okay.
Certainly
Do you
am.
want to... You're ready. Do you want to tell us about the Brothers Grimm?
Yep. Okay. Most people will have seen the TV show, the Grimm, the television show. That was one of the reasons that we decided on doing the subject of the fairy tales. Now, the Grimm fairy tales, they were originally known as the Children and Household Tales. The Grimm brothers, Jacob and William, first published them on the 20th of December, 1812. But I didn't know this, and Tracy didn't know this. The Grimm brothers actually never wrote any of the fairy tales themselves. Basically, all they did was they collected tales that had been handed down from generation to generation, and then put them all together, and then started publishing them on the 20th of December. So actually, the Brothers Grimm didn't write the fairy tales, which was a shock to me because I was always under the impression that they did.
I was too. They did make some changes to some, but they never actually wrote them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was surprising to me because, I'd always grown up hearing the, Grimm fairy tales, and they just collected them.
And a lot of the fairy tales were also wrote by a gentleman called Hans Christian Andersen. He wrote The Little Mermaid, Princess and the Pea, and a few others that I can't actually remember at the moment, but he wrote a few as well. So it wasn't just the Brothers Grimm. It was Hans Christian Andersen as well. Have you heard of Hans Christian Andersen, Tracy?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You have done, yeah. Right, so are you going to kick off then with your first one?
If you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start off with, let me find my notes. Oh my gosh, I was going to have you go first. Okay, I'm going to start off with Sleeping Beauty.
I can start. I can go first if you want.
No, it's okay. I could do Sleeping Beauty. Okay, here we go. The earliest known version of the Sleeping Beauty story is found in between 1330 and 1344. And that's another thing that surprised me about these fairy tales was how old they actually are. I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around something that we can hear something now that was written in 1330. Yeah. So in one of the very early versions of this story that was published in 1634 by Giambattista Basile was a story called Sun, Moon, and Talia. In that story, the princess does not prick her finger on a spindle, she gets a little piece of flax stuck under her fingernail. She falls down. She's apparently dead, but her father can't face the idea that his daughter is dead. So he has many castles, and he places her body in a room in one of these castles. Later on, a king is out hunting in the woods, and he finds her in this empty castle and notices that she's unconscious. And in the movies and the stories, he kisses her. Well, in the original story, he rapes her. And then he leaves because he's a married man and he has to go back home to his kingdom, which was super romantic, I thought. So, so Talia is unconscious, and she gives birth to these twins, which are the sun and moon. That's their names, which is the name of the story. And one of the twins sucks on her finger and pulls out the flax from under her fingernail, which wakes her up, and she discovers that she has newborn babies. And I guess that was normal because she just goes on and starts to raise them. So one day, the king decides that he wants to go see Talia again. Now, keep this in mind, please. He still thinks that she's unconscious, laying on a bed. So he's going to go see her, quote unquote, again. It's so weird.
Tracy,
So, yes.
are we talking about the king that raped her now, or the king who was
Yeah,
her
the
father?
king that raped her. Yeah, sorry.
Right.
The king that raped her. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Not her father. So he goes back to the castle that he found her at, and he finds her, of course, awake, and that she has had his children, twins. He tells her who he is and what happened, and she ends up falling in love with him. Because who doesn't? Who wouldn't? You know. After a few days, he has to go back to his kingdom, and he promises Talia that he's going to come back and he's going to get her and the kids, and that she will help him rule his kingdom. Except the problem is, he has a wife. So in the middle of the night, when they're sleeping, he's sleeping, the wife hears him say in his sleep, Talia, sun and moon. She threatens the king's secretary and asks her, what is that? What does this mean? And the secretary tells her. So she sends Talia a letter, and she pretends that she's the king. And she asks Talia to send the twins because he wants to see them. So she does. She sends the twins to the kingdom, and the queen tells the cook to kill them and make food out of them. Yeah, because she wants to feed the king his children. This is such a happy story. Aren't you feeling a warm fuzzy right now?
You
No?
definitely are.
A lot of fairy tales have a lot of fairy tales have eating children for some reason. I don't get it, but so the cook refuses to do it, but he doesn't tell the queen. So he makes 2 lambs and serves them as if they are the twins. And every time the king mentions how good the food is, the queen replies, "Eat, eat. You are eating of your own." And apparently he doesn't think that's weird. So I don't. Fairy tales are weird. So the queen invites Talia to come to the kingdom, and her plan is that she's going to burn Talia alive. in front of the king. But the king finds out what happened and found out what was going on with the children. He orders that his wife be burned alive along with those people who betrayed him, like his secretary. Since the cook did not obey the queen and did not cook the babies, he gets a reward. The story ends with the king marrying Talia, and they live happily ever after. And as a side note, in this story, her name is Talia. In later stories, she doesn't have a name at all. And then in other versions, she is named Briar Rose. And in the Disney version, that is her name, and the king eventually calls her Rosebud. So, yeah, there you go. The sum of Sleeping Beauty is she was raped, she had 2 babies, and she fell in love with the man who raped her, and narrowly escaped being burned alive and her children being eaten. So sweet.
Usually fairy tales have some kind of meaning to them, don't they?
Yes.
But
This one doesn't.
This just doesn't have one at all. I mean,
yeah. No, there's not one. I have some coming up later that talk about the meaning behind them. And this one doesn't have any kind of a moral at all. It was just pure violence and yeah. Well, there was a happy ending, after the burning of people. Can you imagine telling your children this story at night before they go to bed? Oh, do you want to hear about Sleeping Beauty? It's such a sweet story. She was asleep. A man raped her. Don't worry about the word rape. We'll get to that when you're older. She had babies. So romantic.
the thing that I don't understand, the thing that I don't get is the fact that when he went back to see her, and he told her, he must have told her what he'd done.
Yes.
And she was like, well, that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, oh, things happen.
I mean, other than the fact that about the cooking people and eating people and burning people alive, the rest of the story, you could sort of put that in today's sort of society, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But not the fact that they were going to eat the children as well. Maybe in some parts of society.
Maybe. Yeah. So there you go. You can check Sleeping Beauty out the stories you're going to tell your kids tonight.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. Who would come up with that kind of? They must have been pretty twisted in whenever the
1300s. Yeah,
the 1400s.
And I suppose that they didn't value, females, I guess. So maybe the rape part was just sometimes you're walking through the woods and boop, it happens.
Well, the rape, the thing about rape, it was, I don't know if it was the same in America, but until probably in the 60s or 70s, no, probably before that, before the 60s, 50s and 60s, you couldn't rape your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the same here.
It was the same in America.
Because she was your wife.
Yeah, and basically you could do what you wanted to her because she was married to you. And it's only quite recently, really, that they have said that, if you rape is rape is rape, that's... And go on, sorry.
I feel like I remember when the laws changed about that in the United States. I feel like I remember that happening. So I don't think it was that long ago that was changed.
No, I think it was definitely in our lifetimes, weren't it?
Yeah.
But The thing about the undermining of women and the way women were seen in society, that part of the fairy tale, especially with what's going on at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the movement that is it me
Me
not me
too.
no, Me Too movement.
Mm-hmm.
That sort of would run quite well with that.
Right. Yes. Yes. That's right.
Because it's not been that long since women could vote in this country. I mean, it's probably
Yeah.
when I was born that women were allowed to vote, would started to be able to vote. And
Wow.
you think nowadays that's just ridiculous, don't you? But
Yeah. Yeah.
people
Well,
died.
in my father's lifetime, um, he served in the army, and they he remembers having, different water fountains, and went to the they went to the funeral of a serviceman. They were they did the flag thing, and one of the people, it was a black. I don't know what I'm looking for. They were, what do you call it when you serve? It was a black soldier that had served with my dad during the Vietnam War, and
Yeah,
he and another black soldier were in charge of doing the whole flag ceremony thing. And then afterwards, they went to go out to eat, and they were kicked out of the restaurant because the black soldier was wearing his uniform, and they said that they didn't want to see a black man wearing the uniform of the United States Army. So, it's amazing. That it was, those kinds of incidents were not that long ago. And like you said, you could not rape your wife because she was your wife and she owed it and she was your possession. You had to
yeah,
obey. She had to obey her husband.
yeah. That was even in the marriage vows, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay, Rob,
Yeah,
what do you have to tell us?
I'd like to talk about Cinderella,
Okay.
and it's not as in depth as yours, but Cinderella. We all know the story about Cinderella
All right.
and the evil stepmother and the evil stepsisters
Right.
and the prince. That's all pretty much the same. But in the original story, the stepsisters, when Cinderella has gone to the ball and she comes home and she loses her glass slipper, and the prince is going all around the countryside and surrounding area or whatever, trying to find the lady whose foot fitted in the slipper,
Right.
and he couldn't find anyone at all. And he went to Cinderella's house, and Cinderella was sent upstairs to do some cleaning or some chores, and
Mm-hmm.
wasn't allowed to see the prince. The evil stepsisters tried the slipper on, and obviously the feet were too large for the slipper. So obviously in the Disney film, they just each try it on and it won't fit. They really, really try and squeeze their big fat feet into the slipper and it won't work. And
Yeah.
that's coming from someone with size 13 feet. So the glass slipper definitely wouldn't fit on my foot.
No, he would have lost out.
And such a shame that, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be?
Yeah, it would have been awful. You
It
you
just
can always
depends on
cry on my shoulder about that.
it just depends how much money the prince had. Maybe
I
I would
know.
have made the fitted slip if it was. But,
That's right.
that's a whole different podcast.
I hear you.
Right. Okay. In the original story, in the original fairy tale, one of the stepsisters cuts off basically the front of her foot with a knife and tries to squeeze it into the slipper, and it won't. It won't fit. So the other evil stepsister sees the first one cut off her toes and it's still not fit. So she then she then cuts off the heel of her foot and tries to squeeze this bloody thing, bloody meaning blood pouring everywhere,
Yeah.
into the slipper, and it still wouldn't fit. And then the evil stepmother tries to try, making up words again. The evil stepmother attempts to try and put the slipper on, and her foot has got no chance. So then he sees or he hears something, and he gets Cinderella to come down. And Cinderella tries to try. Obviously, Cinderella recognises the prince, but obviously the prince doesn't recognise Cinderella because obviously he wasn't paying that much attention the night before when she was all beautiful.
Right.
That's pretty shit, that, isn't it?
Yeah, really, it is.
When you think about it, he meets this beautiful, beautiful woman and has this wonderful night dancing with her. But then he can't recognise her the next day, even though she's just got dirty clothes on and she's been screwed out the chimney. You think he would have recognised her?
Seen past the beautiful hair and the beautiful gown.
Yeah.
And actually seen her face, maybe?
Yeah, obviously he wasn't looking. Maybe this dress was quite low cut, and he
maybe he shouldn't have been trying on the slipper. Maybe he should have been looking at something else.
Yeah. So anyway, Cinderella comes down. She tries on the slipper, and her foot fits in it like a glove. And he realizes then that she's the one. The stepsisters and the evil stepmother start going crazy and absolute kicking off to they're just so saying that that's not her, it can't be her, and blah blah blah. And in the original story, big crows fly down and peck out their eyes. That's just going to get your kids off that, isn't
it? Yeah. Good night. Sleep well.
Don't dream about that one. These three people with no eyes and two of them have got no feet.
It's still romantic. Cinderella ends up with the prince.
Aww. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Cinderella.
Oh my gosh.
I think Cinderella must have been a bit of a bitch, to be honest. you know, I know she was treated really, really badly, but come on.
Because she allowed it to happen.
And just left them. Like, F you lot, I'm off. I've got my prince. You can hobble around and try and find your way around your house with no eyes.
I've got a honeymoon to get to.
Yeah. Because in the film, doesn't she... Are you all right?
I can't take it.
Pardon?
I'm just picturing them trying to get around, hobbling around in their house, trying to find where they are with no feet. I have a dark side. Sorry.
Well, in the film, in the Disney film, doesn't she give wasn't one of the stepsisters nicer than the other, even though they were both horrible? Doesn't she help the stepsister, and maybe she gives them jobs or something in the palace? Or am I thinking
I don't remember that.
Well, obviously, I mean, like your story, there's no sort of moral of the story as far as Cinderella's concerned. It's
Right.
just, you know, basically do whatever you can to get your prince.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's crazy.
So, folks, that's Cinderella. Make
There you
sure you
go.
make sure you took notes, and you can tell your kids tomorrow.
Tell them tonight.
Now go wake them up.
I have something to tell you. It's really important.
Yeah, do you know you want me to read you a bedtime story before you fell asleep? Well, I've decided I woke you up now. It won't take 10 minutes, and I'll tell you this story, and you'll sleep like a log.
And the moral of the story is do whatever you can to get your prince.
Yeah, even if it means cutting people's feet off and pecking their eyes out.
Oh, yeah, that's included, and whatever you can. If you have to fall into a coma and be raped, do it. Get your prince.
Do you know something?
What?
The sort of crap that's on the telly now about all these reality shows. I'm sure that you would get people lining up as long as they could get on telly to do it.
I bet you're right. Like, I have to cut my toes off? Yeah, but just one foot. Okay.
You know, it's just we have this thing on TV on telly now. I haven't actually watched any episodes because it just drives me crazy. Called Celebrity. No, it's not Celebrity. It's called Love Island. People in the UK will know about this Love Island. And in the morning when I listen to the radio, when I'm taking the kids to school, the people on there, they talk about this program, and it's so crap. These plastic people who want to be celebrities, and oh god, I just turns my stomach. I just hope my girls don't turn out to be like that. I just hope they've got a little bit more to them.
Well, you are their dad, so I think that they'll understand that's not the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's funny because so many people look up to the Kardashian family. Kim Kardashian got famous because her sex tape was released, quote unquote, accidentally, which her mother managed. You know, her mother was like, oh, well, now I'm going to manage your quote unquote career. She didn't have a career. She had a sex tape released. And then all of a sudden there's Kardashians everywhere. They're like cockroaches. They just keep coming.
It's loads of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
Isn't she married to that rapper that's lost his mind?
Kanye West, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's not full pseudonym, is he?
I think he has some problems. I think he has some problems. I think there's some mental health issues going on there.
Just, did you ever get a program called Big Brother in America?
Can I? I know. Did Jeremy? Did you just say that out loud, or just to me and Rob? Okay, so Jeremy just said, "Oh my God." Please don't judge me, Rob. I've watched every Big Brother season since it started, and it's on right now, and I watch it. And I even have the live feeds to watch it at night. Oh, it's so embarrassing. I love it.
You know, do you watch it out of kind of pity for these people?
Well, I watch it. I think it's an interesting social experiment. You know, the thing is that on Big Brother, there's only I've figured this out through American Idol and those types of contests and things like Big Brother. There are only about 5 different kinds of people in the world. and they're like the country people, there's the rock people, there's the hippie people, there's the older people who want to be the younger people, and they it's all, and Survivor as well. Survivor always has the same people, the like dumb blonde girl, the
Yeah.
dumb blonde guy, the guy with muscles, the guy who's a nerd. There's it's the same kind of casting because there's only, I guess they want to feel like that represents the types of people in the world. So I watch it because I'm fascinated by the fact that I can actually loathe somebody that I've never met before in my life, and I probably never will. Although I have to say that on Big Brother, there was somebody on there twice who lived in my city, and I do have a picture of me with him. So embarrassing. Um, anyway, I just am fascinated that I can loathe somebody I've never met before. I can love somebody I've never met before, and how backstabbing human beings are.
Oh yeah.
I just like to watch it in that kind of a manner. Just think, wow, it only takes like 2 seconds before somebody says, I love you. And then the next thing they're like, you're voted out.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by human behavior. So I'm a people watcher. I like to sit and watch people. So
Mhm.
I can watch this. Now they have a Celebrity Big Brother, as you know,
Yeah.
and I don't watch that because it's not the same. That's not the same. I mean, that's that's not the same as watching people. And all they sit around. If you watch the live feeds, they sit around and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my career is gonna take off after this. Oh, I can totally see you modeling for whatever magazine. I think that you can probably get an acting job after this." And that's not gonna happen. That's why they're there, though. In the
Yeah.
beginning, it wasn't why they were there, um, and I kind of like that better. Now they come in with their extensions and they have their fake eyelashes on every day and all their makeup, and so it's different, but it's still interesting people watching to me.
Yeah.
You hate it?
I've never watched it. I've never. I've seen snip. Uh, One of my other girlfriends used to like it, and it used to be on. And I'd probably just be reading a book or something. I just and and I just can't believe how superficial these people are. It's just
Yeah.
and you know, and when I used to work in the children's home, and we used to have to do the waking nights. Once we got the kids to bed and to sleep, which sometimes could be like 2 o'clock in the morning,
Hmm.
we sit and watch the telly, and they have like you can sit and watch them sleep.
Right.
Now, what is the fun in that? Why would you
Right.
want to watch someone sleep? I want to go to sleep myself, but I don't want to watch you sleep when I can't sleep.
Right.
I just don't get it. It just doesn't work for me at all. But each to their own.
Yeah. Sorry.
Are you one of these people that sort of you end up idolizing someone in there, or do you just think
Oh no. Oh
they're just a
gosh,
product?
no.
Yeah, I can understand it from like a from your kind of point of view of watching it, but some of these people get just so swept away with the whole experience,
Oh yeah.
and it's just bizarre.
Yeah, no, I'm not like that. I'm not gonna idolize anybody in there. And honestly, it's so bizarre because the very next season, I have completely forgot who the previous people were in the house. It just goes the second the season's over, it just evaporates. I don't have room in my brain to keep it there.
Yeah.
I have to remember, passwords for 150 different websites. I can't know their names too.
Do you know what you're saying about Kim Kardashian? And so I didn't know that it was she got famous because of a sex tape. Didn't that Paris Hilton do the same?
Yeah. Yeah, she did. Yeah, that's what started, I think, all this reality TV stuff.
Yeah, because her dad's in charge. He's the one from the Hilton Hotels, isn't there?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so I've got that right. Yeah, I've seen her in a film. Um, it was like a horror film she was in, and the girl can't act.
Oh, no.
I hope she acted better on a sex tape than she did in this film because you know.
I don't think anybody was probably watching it for the acting, though. I don't know.
Well, I
I'm
haven't
just
seen any.
saying.
Not really sex tapes.
Okay.
What are we talking about this for?
I don't know. We are way off in the weeds right now.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm absolutely. I don't know why we're talking about Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian.
Okay. I'm going to talk about Little Red Riding Hood. And this one's kind of short. So, the Grimm brothers changed this story from the original one and made it nicer. They made it so that Little Red Riding Hood was saved by a prince. The original story, which was written by Charles Perrault and was included in his 1697 book that was a collection of stories or fairy tales from past times, Tales of Mother Goose. So here's how the story goes. There's, okay, okay. There's two stories. There's two versions. In the first one, it just goes simply to Little Red Riding Hood gets naked, gets in bed, and then she dies and she's eaten by the wolf. And I guess they didn't think that was enough plot, so they have another version. And in this version, the wolf cooks up her grandmother, feeds it to her, pours her blood into a glass, and says it's wine. And they have a really nice candlelit dinner. And then she gets into bed with a wolf, and they the wolf has sex with her. Now, keep in mind, it's Little Red Riding Hood. This is about a child going to see her grandmother. The point of this story, of Perrault's moral of this story, is that it's supposed to remind us that not all wolves are wild beasts. And sometimes they can seduce you with gentleness and sneak into your beds and take advantage of you. Now, at the time, the French saying for a girl losing her virginity was Elle avoir vu le loup, which means she has seen the wolf. So the moral of the story was men are wolves. Not all wolves are evil, appear to be evil, but they can seduce you and trick you to get into bed. And Mad Meerkat wants to ask, what is a chupacabra? Well, Mad Meerkat, chupacabra is fake. Oh, was it a chupacabra? Oh, sorry. Yes, it might have been a chupacabra. Yeah, it could have been. We might never know. Anyway, it's so disgusting because this is about a child a child, Little Red Riding Hood. And Elle avoir vu le loup. She has seen the wolf. What?
It's a bit,
It's a bestiality story, and a molestation story, and a moral about losing your virginity.
absolutely the.
Yeah, so you might want to skip Little Red Riding Hood tonight because the real story will send your child to a psychiatrist.
So, so how come we got? Obviously, the Grimm brothers changed it to.
Yeah, so the Grimm brothers thought, well, this can't be happening. So they changed it completely to the wolf pretends to be the grandmother. Now the grandmother has been eaten by the wolf, but it wasn't fed to Little Red. And then a prince comes and saves her. So they changed that. They really cleaned that up. I mean, really cleaned it up. Because before it was it was Charles Perrault's sick fantasy.
Yeah, yeah. But in the one of the original versions that I've heard is the wolf he eats the grandmother, and then obviously gets in bed and pretends to be the grandmother.
Yeah.
And then the prince comes and he rescues her, and he cuts open the belly of the wolf, and the grandmother's there, and she's okay.
Alive? Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if that was just done so to make it more friendly for kids, but
Probably.
yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's late where you are.
Yeah, did you hear that? I'm sorry.
That's all right. So yeah, that I have to say that is probably ranks up there with my least favorite of the fairy tales we're talking about. It's disgusting. I'll never see that same again. Blah, blah. Okay, next
is The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
Now they are making Disney. When I took my daughters to see the new Beauty and the Beast, and they're supposed to be making a Little Mermaid film that's not animated. It's just like a normal film, like Beauty and the Beast was. My daughters absolutely love Little Mermaid. They really, really do. And I hopefully will be taking them to see this when it comes out. But the original was wrote by, as I was mentioning before, Hans Christian Andersen. Ariel, the Little Mermaid, in the original, she actually dies. In the original one. And the penalty she has for, she wishes to have legs.
Yeah.
Basically, she comes up to the surface and she sees the prince on a boat or yacht or something celebrating his birthday, and he falls into the water, and she rescues him and takes him to the shore, and then he becomes obsessed with finding out who saved him. So she wishes to have legs, but in the film, she just gets legs and she's able to walk. The penalty for having legs in the original one is every step that she takes with her legs, it's like walking on broken glass. And like knives, it is literally cutting her feet apart every step that she takes, which isn't very nice.
No.
So, if you remember the original, she manages to get a fishtail or a mermaid tail back, and that's all well and good. But in the original, the Sea Witch. Do you remember the Sea Witch?
Yes.
She takes her voice. But in the original, the Sea Witch takes her voice and her tongue.
Is the sea witch Ursula?
Yeah.
Okay.
She takes her voice and takes her tongue out as well. What she has to do, the prince gets killed. Well, she has to basically, to get her tail back, she has to kill the prince.
Oh.
She has to stab him repeatedly. And then she has to take a cup of his blood and drip it on her legs.
Oh.
And that will make her mermaid tail reappear. That is the
Wow.
true story of The Little Mermaid, which I will never be telling my daughters.
No. So did she do it?
Well, in the original, yeah.
She killed the prince?
Killed the prince, yeah. And because she wanted to be, she couldn't live on land because it was killing her to walk about on her legs that she'd wished for. Because if you remember in the original, she, to get her legs, she says she will go without a voice for a period of time.
Uh-huh.
But in the original, they took out her tongue as well, or she took out her tongue as well, and she couldn't walk on the. She couldn't walk on land without being in pain, so she had to go back, and she got tricked into doing that. So she had to kill the prince to get back to being a mermaid, and she lived happily ever after with everything back as it was, not back as normal, with her tongue and her voice box and a mermaid's tail.
Oh. Well, that wasn't even. That's actually not even a happy ending.
No.
I mean, she. And didn't she? Okay, so I think I read somewhere that to try and impress him, she danced for him. Did you read this? Where that she danced for him even though it was super painful, and in the end he decided to marry somebody else instead, so it was all for nothing.
I didn't find that piece in my research today. I didn't see that. But there was
Yeah.
another mermaid. There was another mermaid on the scene who tried to befriend her. Basically, was trying to trick her. But there wasn't much. There wasn't much really to be said about that one. Excuse me.
Well, that's lovely.
Really, really horrible.
So you're not going to, if the new version of Little Mermaid is that, you're going to skip it?
Oh, obviously, I'm not going to take my daughters to see that. Traumatizing for life.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
I've seen the trailer on YouTube and it looks really good. And like I said to you today, I'd never been to like a musical, and
Right.
we went to Beauty and the Beast, and it was really, really good. I was really surprised. So, and the girls love it anyway because obviously the big screen. But no, I actually the Beauty and the Beast actually made me cry at the end. Oh, such a
Aw.
big, tough man. Crying my eyes out like a baby.
And handsome too.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't mind my daughters didn't cry. Like, what are you crying for, Daddy?
Oh no.
Just got something in my eye. Just got a bit of dust in my eye. My eyes are yawning.
Can't you feel the dust in here? Oh my goodness. That's so funny.
My eyes, I get tears in my eyes when I'm tired and my eyes yawn. It makes them look like I'm crying. I hope they never told that anyone at school. Teacher says, "What's up there?" Well, my eyes are tired.
Oh my gosh. It's all right. It's all right. We know real men cry.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Snow White. So in the original 1812 Grimm version of the tale, the evil queen is Snow White's actual mother, not her stepmother. We don't know, but that makes it a lot more terrifying to us. The Disney version also left out the fact that the queen sends the huntsman out to bring back Snow White's liver and lungs, which she is then going to eat. And the fact that she's actually not in a deep sleep when the prince finds her, she's dead. And as he's carting off her dead body to wherever he's going to take it, one of his servants trips and it jostles the coffin, and it dislodges the poison apple from her throat. Most notable, however, is the punishment the Grimms thought up for the queen. So when Snow White and the Prince get married, they invite everybody to come, including the queen. And for some reason, she goes to the wedding. And once she gets there, the prince forces her to put on iron shoes that have been sitting in the fire and then makes her dance until she dies.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a little bit of history on Snow White. Many scholars have theorized about the possible origins of this tale. In 1994, a German historian whose name was Eckhart Sanders published a book that I can't pronounce, but the translation is Snow White, Fairy Tale or Truth, claiming that he had uncovered an account that may have inspired the story that first appeared in the Grimm's fairy tale. According to Sander, the character of Snow White was based on the life of Margarita von Waldeck, a German countess born to Philip IV in 1533. At the age of 16, Marguerite was forced by her stepmother, Katharina of Hatzfeld, to move away to Brussels. There, Marguerite fell in love with a prince who would later become Philip II of Spain. Marguerite's father and stepmother disapproved of the relationship as it was politically inconvenient. And at the age of 21, Marguerite mysteriously died, having been poisoned. Historical accounts point to the King of Spain, who also opposed the romance and may have dispatched Spanish agents to murder Marguerite. Then scholar Graham Anderson compares the story of Snow White to the Roman legend of I think it's Xion, which was recorded in Ovid's Metamorphoses. The name Xion means snow in Greek, and in this story, she is described as the most beautiful woman in the land. So beautiful that the gods Apollo and Mercury both fell in love with her. Mercury puts her to sleep with a touch of his caduceus and raped her in her sleep.
God.
Then Apollo, disguised as an old crone, approaches her and rapes her again. These affections led Xion to openly boast that she was more beautiful than the goddess Diana herself, resulting in Diana shooting her through the tongue with an arrow. Karl-Heinz Bartels, a pharmacist and scholar from some town in Bavaria, also found evidence that Snow White was Maria Sophia Marguerite Katharina, who was the Baroness von und zu Ertel, who was born to Lohr on June 25th, 1725. Her father, Philip Christoph von und zu Ertel, was the local representative of the Prince of Mainz. After the death of Maria Sophia's birth mother in 1738, her father remarried in 1743. The stepmother, whose name was Claudia Elizabeth von Reichenstein, was very domineering and employed her new position to the advantage of her children from her first marriage. A magic mirror, referred to as the talking mirror, known as Always Telling the Truth, can still be viewed today at the Spessart Museum in the Lohr Castle, where Maria Sophia's stepmother lived. This mirror was presumably a present from Maria Sophia's father to his second wife, and it was a product of the Lohr mirror manufacturer. So there you go. 3 possible histories for Snow White, and she was raped.
Do you know, over the last few years, there's been a couple of films, haven't there? Snow White ones, quite dark.
Yes, like The Huntsman.
Yeah, Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah.
What's her name? Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron, yeah.
She plays the wicked witch, whatever she is.
Yeah.
But that really, really good film, that.
Yeah,
Snow White
it
and
is.
the Huntsman. Yeah, and there's another one due to come out as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and which I cannot remember what it's called, but I saw the trailer for it, which looks really, really good.
Huh.
Because I don't know, she's not completely dead. The witch,
Right.
comes back. But it looks really, really good. I really like that film.
Interesting.
In fact, I might actually watch it tonight after this podcast.
Okay.
Was there any mention of the dwarfs?
No. Although in the history they said that the dwarfs were, first off, they were named by Disney. They didn't have names before that. They had attributes. Right. So there was like kindness and jealousy and things like that. But it really, in the history and all of that, the dwarfs have no real purpose.
Because I have read a while ago that there were 7 dwarves, weren't there?
Yeah.
That the dwarves, similar to what you've just said, the dwarves were like the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
So yeah, that could be that makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? Really, than just the.
Yeah, I guess it would kind of make it a morality tale, I suppose.
Yeah.
Until you add in the 2 rapes, then you're lost. You just lost the argument.
There's so much raping stories about rape.
There's so much raping. I know. Yeah, it's so bizarre. These tales often involve rape. It's really weird. They were obsessed with this. It's so weird. I don't know if they were obsessed with it or it was so normal that it was, of course, going to go into a story. I mean, it's part of life. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know how they thought back then and what the conditions were. Maybe it was just that it was such a normal way to treat women that, if you happen to stumble across a woman who is in a coma, well, you raped her.
Well, according to the fairy tales, basically men were just running around with no pants on, raping everything that moved.
Yeah. Didn't move. Didn't move.
Didn't move.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Moving,
if they could
not
catch
moving.
If they could catch you, you'd had it.
Yes, exactly. It was so weird. Maybe the moral of this was to chastise men. I don't know. It was so. When I was going through the history of these, I was just like, the common denominator in this is rape. I don't know. That's not a love story. What are they? Blech.
Just The moral of the story is women need to run faster.
Yes, don't don't go to sleep under any circumstances. I don't even care if it's a coma. Don't do it. It's so crazy.
Oh, dear me. Oh, no.
I
We
don't
what?
know.
Right, do you want me to do... I was going to do a couple of nursery rhymes now. Is that okay?
Yes.
And I hope that you will have heard these over in America.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the ones you told me about, we've all heard.
Right, well, the first one I'd like to talk about is quite a short one, this, is Ring a Ring of Roses. Ring a Ring of Roses. Now, there are lots of different versions of this. The way we look at it in the UK and what I was taught when I was a little kid and what I've told to my kids is ring of roses, pocket full of posies, a tissue, we all fall down. Now, that basically, the nursery rhyme was about the Black Death, about the plague, the Great Plague of London. Ring of Roses, from what I've researched today, it was putting my mind's just gone blank, putting flowers around the body, and we've all seen the pictures of the plague people with the big long beaks on, who used to go around and find where the plague victims were. Basically, those beaks were full of petals of flowers and herbs and things like that. One, to get rid of the smell, because obviously the smell must have been horrendous. And another thing was, they believed that certain herbs and spices would ward off the plague. So, whether it worked or not, I don't know. But and a tissue was people coughing and choking. We all fall down. Is basically that they died. Now there is another version, and it's quite similar, but it goes like this: ring a roses, pocket full of posies, ashes to ashes, we all fall down. This basically means that pretty much the same as the original, but when they found the plague, the bodies that were dead, and there's also a rumor that maybe some of the bodies weren't dead, but they were going to die, were basically burnt. They used to just burn the bodies. They put them in pits, plague pits, and there's been lots of plague pits found around London, with lots of basically big mass graves where they used to just set the plague victims on fire and burn the bodies. But yeah, it's quite a dark, horrible thing, really. But it's such one of those nursery rhymes that kids still say today. But I don't know if they talk about the actual meanings of that in school, or it wouldn't be PC enough today to actually tell children what the actual nursery rhyme meant.
We used to sing Ring Around the Rosies, Pocket Full of Posies, Ashes to Ashes, we all fall down. And in all honesty, I don't think I even paid attention to what the words were. I don't think I ever thought ashes to ashes, which of course is used oftentimes referring to death. I don't think I ever even paid attention. So, and then Pocket Full of Posies, maybe that was about the the guys that went around with those long masks. But do you know why they call it the Black Plague?
Actually, I don't think I do.
Okay, here you go. They call it the Black Plague because when you got it, your skin started turning black until you were all black. And so that's why it was called the Black Plague.
But you know those beaks that they used to wear, the
Yeah.
people,
Hmm.
they believe that putting in certain herbs and spices and flowers and things to help them breathe, basically,
Hmm.
because of the smell, because the smell must have been horrendous.
Oh yeah.
I just wonder if that did actually help. They were, they it did actually protect them, but it wasn't airborne, was it? It was
It was fleas.
fleas off the rats. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm thinking how could it have helped? You know,
yeah. But
it,
when they were coming into contact with the bodies, the dead bodies, or people that were nearly dead, who had the
mhm.
plague, could they
Yeah.
catch it? They must have thought that by breathing the same air, you
Yeah,
know,
maybe. I
and
don't,
obviously,
I think you had, I really don't know. Was it contagious like that?
I don't know because
I,
they obviously mm, go on.
I did a story once. I'm trying to look it up, so I'll look it up while we're talking about it, but I feel like it wasn't airborne.
No, it wasn't. I think it wasn't airborne.
So it would have done no good to wear that thing.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and if people from the UK are listening, or people anywhere, this might be wrong, but did the Great Fire of London eventually was that at the same time as the plague? And did the Great Fire of London basically get rid of all the basically stop the plague in its just stop the plague? I can't remember if that
Hmm.
is actually because I know that you could. I've read some stuff about people looking over sort of London and just seeing all the fires where they were burning the bodies.
Uh-huh.
And I know that the Great Fire of London was supposed to have started in Pudding Lane. I think it was at a baker's shop, but are those? I don't know if them two are connected, the fire and the plague, or I'm thinking I'm putting stuff together in my head that shouldn't be put together. But obviously, they were burning the bodies because they have when they've been. I can't say the word digging up London basically because obviously you've got the subway and the tube in London.
Right.
Have gone through lots and lots of plague pits where they found skeletal remains of hundreds and hundreds of bodies, and they've had to be moved and be buried. Obviously, they can't ID the bodies because obviously we're talking out in the 1800s. Um,
Right.
but there's lots of places around London where they found plague pits with bodies in them.
Okay, a couple of things. Um, those are called okay, so those are called plague doctors.
Yeah,
Um, Jory said we were talking about Jory was saying talking about the rape situation. He's like, eat, work, rape, sleep, women, repeat. Yes. I think that was it. And he said a pocket full of posies was because they would put flowers in the pockets of the dead to mask the smell of death.
yeah.
So I did a story, and I just put the link up on Twitch about the plague village of Derbyshire. Derbyshire? I don't know how you guys talk.
Derby.
Derbyshire?
It's not
Darb?
Shire. It's
It,
not Shire. It's
it's not?
Derbyshire. No, it's not like Lancashire. It's Lancashire.
Like,
Derbyshire.
okay, because it's okay. So it's this says Derbysshire. Derbyshire,
Yeah, I know. I know that's how it's spelled, but it's Derbyshire.
Derbyshire.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. So have you heard about the plague village of Derbyshire?
No.
Okay, so this whole it's a true story. This whole village, small village, it's also a tourist attraction in case you want to go. They like were coming down with, like, they lost like 2/3 of their population to the plague, and there was a whole other village just above it on this like mountain kind of a range or a big hill, and they had told everybody, sent some sort of a message down to say, don't bother coming up here, don't bring anything with you. They had gotten the plague because they had gotten a shipment of material to make, clothing and whatnot. And on that shipment that had come on a boat, there had been rats. Rats had fleas. Fleas had the plague. This town then the whole town became infested with it because that's what they did. So they sort of quarantined this town where nobody could come or leave. And they made a deal. The town came together and they made a deal that no matter what happened, no one was going to leave, so that it didn't spread the plague. But I mean, I'm thinking fleas can come and go, but maybe they travel on you and not just hop up the mountain. But so they lost all these people to the plague, and then they put numbers on their homes. And I think it was the number of people who died in that house. And you can go to this village to this day and tour it, and the numbers are still on the homes. People live there, and you can see where they burned the sick, and that's something I would love to do, which is kind of weird, but I just love history, so that would be interesting. Anyway, I just wanted to add that I just wanted to add that apparently if you could quarantine off people, other people wouldn't get sick. So maybe it was because the fleas wouldn't leave, would just stay there. And it seems to me that you might be on the right track about the fire. That seems to make a lot of sense.
But the amount of people that died was astronomical.
Yeah.
I think it was like something like half the population.
Yeah. Jory says that a lot of people believe that the plague was supernatural and that God was punishing people.
I could go with that, yeah.
That's some crazy way to control the population. People still get the plague. We've had a couple of cases of the plague in the United States recently.
Yeah. Yeah. But they can cure it now, can't they?
Yeah. I think the fire, I think you're right about that. I think that must have helped a great deal.
I think that there is going to be another, I don't know another kind of type of plague, whether it's some kind of flu virus or something that's going to happen again. I do think that.
You do?
Yeah, I think that.
Why?
I think just because the way we live now, we're getting more and more intolerant to antibiotics because there's antibiotics in our water. There's antibiotics, we're getting these super bugs now that you can't be treated by basically all the antibiotics they've got. They just don't work on these types of different germs, and I think that they're making as well different kinds of things that I just think it's going to happen again. Maybe not in my lifetime, but I do fear for the girls. Because we sort of seem to have little things popping up, don't we?
Yeah.
Where, especially in like third world countries, and it sort of pops its head up, and then it kills loads of people, and then they find a cure for it, and it just makes me wonder, Because there's lots of conspiracies about wanting to cull the population down to a certain amount. I don't know, but that's a whole different podcast. But I do think that we will see something like the plague again. Maybe not a plague as such, but something like bird flu or something like that. Just to leave everyone with a happy thought.
Yeah, we had Ebola here in Texas a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That scared everybody.
Yeah. See, if you'd have said 10 years ago, we're going to get a couple of cases of Ebola, no one would have believed you in Texas.
Right.
But then obviously it happens, and then everyone's, well, hang on a minute, what's going on here? Anyway.
Is it my turn?
It is, yeah. But I'd be interested to ask the listeners, they feel that we could be facing some kind of catastrophic sort of health thing in the near future. Do they think that? Or am I just on my own?
Okay. You know, I rarely use antibiotics. I try like garlic and herbal remedies first. My kids have rarely been on antibiotics. I don't use hand sanitizer. I think hand sanitizer makes people end up getting sick because you kill off all the good bacteria too. Unless I'm at a hospital. If I'm at a hospital, I'm going to drench myself in hand sanitizer because you can get some real bad stuff in hospitals. I think good old-fashioned hand washing is better for you. And, in our meat, there's antibiotics because they give it to the cows so they don't get sick. In our milk, there's antibiotics. I think if people really paid attention to the antibiotic situation, and that when they go to the doctor and they have a virus and the doctor gives you a prescription, never take antibiotics for a virus. They don't work on viruses. It's bacterial. And I think they just hand them out like candy. Here, it'll make you feel better. And in a week, you feel better. Well, you would have anyway because the antibiotics didn't work on you. And I think that's why we're becoming so antibiotic resistant. Hold on a second. I'm going to choke to death. Okay, I think I'm going to live. Because we do take so many antibiotics, we don't finish the antibiotics. People feel better in 3 days, so they don't finish their 10-day dose. It's just not something to mess around with. I'm trying not to choke. I don't know what is wrong. Anyway, I don't know how I got on that story about the antibiotics.
Well, it's funny you said about the hand sanitizer because we've got a couple of reptiles. We've got 2 snakes and gecko, and we always use hand sanitizer after holding them.
Oh yeah, I would recommend. I would do that too.
Because obviously salmonella and everything.
Yeah.
Obviously got the python and we've got the milk snake and the gecko. But yeah, and I make sure the girls always, even between holding each one, to just put a little bit on and wipe your hands.
Right. Oh yeah, I think that's what you're supposed to do. I'm not opposed to the use of hand sanitizer. I just, in general, there are people who are like almost addicted to it, who put it on all the time, so they don't catch the flu and they don't catch this and they don't catch that, but they don't understand that we have antibodies on our skin. And if you stop being exposed to these things, then your immune system falls short, and then you will get it. Whatever it is that you're horrified that you're going to get it because now your immune system can't fight it off. So, but with handling reptiles and whatnot, well, yes. And I mean, when I go to the store, I use the antibacterial wipes on the cart because I don't know whose hand touched that handle, and you know, I will use it. And I have a funny story. I had a major operation 4 years ago, a major operation, and my doctor was coming in several times a day to see me, and every time he came in, my husband and I were petrified because he was drunk. You could smell the alcohol on him. And we were like, this is crazy. Why aren't the nurses saying something? Should we say something? I don't feel comfortable having him touch me when he's drunk. He came in one morning, a Sunday morning, on his way to church, and he was drunk. And we were like, this guy is drunk before he goes to church. And what we realized was that there was a hand sanitizer thing outside of my room. And he was using the hand sanitizer before he came in. He just smelled like alcohol. He wasn't drunk. Yeah. So I spent 5 days petrified this guy was going to kill me, and he was just using hand sanitizer. My husband, who was going in and out of the room all the time, by the way, he was on the side of drunk and didn't even think it's the hand sanitizer. He let me think this guy was going to kill me. We just jumped right to drunk. At least I wasn't asleep when he came, because God knows, could have been raped. Okay, I'm going to do the next one.
Okay.
And it is Hansel and Gretel. And yeah. So here we go. The version of the story we know is already pretty gruesome. The evil stepmother abandons the children to die in the forest. They happen upon a cannibalistic witch's cottage. She fattens them up to eat. They outwit and kill her and escape. The Grimm version is basically the same, but in an earlier French version called The Lost Children, the witch is actually the devil, and the devil wants to bleed the children on a sawhorse. They pretend that they don't know how to get on the sawhorse, so the devil has his wife, who had earlier in this story tried to help the kids out. He has his wife sit on the sawhorse to show the children how to do it. And right after she gets on the sawhorse, the children slit her throat, steal the devil's money, and run off. The fairy tale may have originated in the medieval period of the Great Famine, which was 1315 through 1321, which actually did cause parents to abandon their children to fend for themselves. And people did end up resorting to cannibalism, which that's really sad. The fact that the mother or the stepmother dies when the children kill the witch suggests that it's possible that in the story, the stepmother, some stories call her their actual biological mother, was actually the witch in the woods as well. And she was trying to eat them. And that's just a very short version of that story. But it's really dark when you consider that people were sending their children to go forage for themselves, and then other people were eating them because of the famine. There's no happy ending in that.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrible. So Hansel and Gretel, they didn't even have the breadcrumbs to leave behind them because they didn't have bread.
Have you seen the movie? The recent one with called Hansel and Gretel.
No, I haven't.
It's really good. You want to watch it. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's got the guy out of the Avengers in it. I can't think what his name is, but yeah, the film's good.
Huh.
I think you'd really
Huh.
enjoy it.
I'll have to go look it up.
It's not super scary, but it's more like an action film than like a horror film, but it is good.
Right. Huh. Well, you have two more. You have two more. What am I trying to say? Nurse.
Nursery rhyme.
Nursery rhymes. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Right. The Three Blind Mice. Have you heard of the Three Blind Mice?
Yes, I have.
I'm going to start off by reading it out, the full version of the. There's so many versions of this bloody nursery rhyme, but this is the full version that I learned when I was a little kid.
Okay.
Three blind mice, see how they run, see how they run. They all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails with a carving knife. Did you ever see such a sight in your life as three blind mice? So that's the version. Is that the version you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Now,
Why were we singing that? That's gross.
why were we what?
Why were we saying that? Why were we singing that story? That's disgusting.
Wait till you hear this.
No.
There's so many meanings to this nursery rhyme. Some are just about naughty children, but there's one that keeps turning up. Queen Mary the First of England, allegedly blinding and executing three Protestant bishops. Some say that the bodies of the bishops were burnt at the stake. So that is, they all ran after the farmer's wife, who cut off their tails. So that's basically supposed to mean them finding out, her finding out that they were going to betray her. And I can't understand why they were Protestant bishops. I would have thought they would be Catholic bishops, but obviously it says Protestant. Just let me get a drink. And did you ever see such a sight in your life? Was basically the blinding bishops trying to find the way around without any being able to see. A bit like the other one.
Oh.
Then some after blinding them and executing them, which obviously executing means that they were put to death, they were burnt at the stake as well.
Really?
And see how they run was they tried to escape before they were blinded and killed. But it doesn't actually tell you why she wanted to execute them, or I couldn't find it today. But it's a bit of a sick, twisted, and what's quite it isn't really very nice anyway, is it? Three blind mice, see how they run, cutting off their tails.
Yeah.
But there were so many different versions of this and different meanings to it. Would have been here all night. So I just chose that one because it was the original, and it was the one that most people know. Is it word for word the same as what you were taught in America? So obviously, and I think if I'm not mistaken, oh no, that's the other one, my last one. This wasn't the one that was wrote in America. This was wrote in the UK. In about the 1500s, it was wrote, so it's quite old.
Wow. And you were telling me something about nursery rhymes that was interesting, or fairy tales. It was fairy tales about where they were written.
It's my last one.
Okay.
it was originally. It was supposed to be the first nursery rhyme that was wrote on American soil, or on American soil. And do you want me to do that now? I could do that now, actually.
Well, if you want to, but I have like several more coming up.
Okay, go on. You carry on then.
Okay. So I am going to do Rapunzel.
Let down your hair.
Yes, that's right. Well, she did.
I want to rape you.
Yes. Exactly. Okay, so some researchers proposed a connection to a pre-Christian European, or otherwise known as Proto-Indo-European, sun or dawn goddess myth in which the light deity is trapped and rescued. Extremely similar myths include that of the Baltic solar goddess Sole, who is held captive in a tower by a king. So that's its history. It goes back to pre-Christian European. That's crazy. So here we go. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let your hair down. In the Grimm version, she does a little too often to a prince, and she winds up pregnant. Innocently remarking to her jailer witch, and the witch's name is Dame Gothel. She remarks to the witch that her clothes are feeling too tight. The witch, not to have any competition, chops off Rapunzel's hair and magically transports her far away where she lives as a beggar. She has no money, she has no home, she's living in the wilderness, and after a few months she has 2 hungry mouths to feed. It's really weird that the twin thing is also a kind of repeated in the nursery rhymes.
Yeah.
So when the prince calls one night, and Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let your hair down, Dame Gothel takes the hair that she cut and holds it over the window, and he climbs up it, and he finds himself staring at Dame Gothel instead of Rapunzel. She tells him in a jealous rage that he's never going to see Rapunzel again, and he jumps from the tower and lands on some thorns, which blind him. For months, he wanders through the wastelands of the country and eventually comes to the same wilderness where Rapunzel now lives with the twins she has given birth to, a boy and a girl. One day, she's singing, and he hears her voice again, and they are reunited. When they fall into each other's arms, her tears immediately restore his sight. He leads her and their twins to his kingdom, where they live happily ever after. In some versions of the story, Rapunzel's hair also magically grows back at that point. Another version of the story ends with the revelation that Dame Gothel had untied Rapunzel's hair after the prince leapt from the tower, and it slipped from her hands and landed below, which left the witch trapped in the tower, which actually makes no sense unless Rapunzel had to drop her hair down to pull the witch in too. Just that doesn't make sense. Some researchers also proposed a connection to. Oh, I did that. I already said that. So, in some versions of the story, the prince went up there and raped her. And that's how she got pregnant, rather than just true love. 2 people love each other. So, I decided that I was going to, at least one of my stories, going to try and leave out the obligatory rape scene. So, it's so crazy. So, yeah. So, that's the true meaning. That's the true story behind Rapunzel, and her blind prince. They always end up with the prince, don't they?
They always do.
Yeah. In the Rapunzel I never heard of her getting pregnant. Did you?
No, no.
Yeah, no. So, that could be worse, but yet there's still rape involved.
It's crazy.
I don't get
Maybe
it.
it's a warning. Maybe the moral is it's like a warning to girls and to women that you've got to be careful.
Right. Well, we were talking about um, what was it? Little Red Riding Hood, and I forgot to mention that aside from telling women that they needed to look out for men, clearly they did. Um, the French used the story as a way to get girls used to the fact that they were going to have a prearranged marriage and could end up with somebody who was a wolf, and that they needed to just uh, get used to it. And Beauty and the Beast is the same was the same way, which I think I'm getting to Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's next. Was also used as a tale about you're going to have a prearranged marriage and he could be a beast, and you're going to have to like it. So, and do you want me to go ahead and do Beauty and the Beast since you only have one left?
We can do this, yeah, because this one is going to be it's quite in depth actually.
Is it?
So,
Okay, well then
yeah.
if you want, okay. Well, Beauty and the Beast for me is very small. It's a very short one. We call it the Bestiality movie. I mean, because let's be real. She falls in love with the beast. This is believed to have originated over 4,000 years ago. By the way, you took your girls, you cried during the Bestiality movie, Rob.
I know. I'm not proud of it.
Oh, my gosh.
My eyes are tired.
I know. There's dust. So, which in the original story, she asks the beast to let her leave for a week to go home and see her family. He tells her that she can only be gone 7 days. He gives her a mirror in which she can look into it and see what he's doing back at the castle, and a ring so that she can twist it and magically come back to the castle in an instant. So she goes to visit her family. Her sisters see that she has jewels and she's well dressed and well fed, and they become jealous. So they talk her in to staying an extra day. And their hope was that if they could talk her into staying an extra day, that when she would go back home, the beast would be so mad at her that he would slit her throat and eat her. So another moral to these stories is just don't have sisters.
Yeah.
But what happened in the story is that she looks in the mirror, she sees that he's half dead in the garden where he picks her roses, and she twists her ring and she goes back there and she tells him she loves him, and that's how he turns it back into the prince, because he needed to find true love. Did you ever watch a TV show called Beauty and the Beast?
The modern version of it.
It was well, it was like I don't even know, maybe maybe 90s, the 90s, and it had Ron Perlman as the Beast, and the woman who's from Terminator, I can't think of her name. She was Beauty.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought Ron Perlman was pretty handsome as a beast. I probably would have married him. That was weird. And like I said, it was promoted in France to tell your daughters these stories because they were going to have prearranged marriages, so they better love their beast. Nice. So I just can't get over the fact I can't. And so it was actually my kids who pointed out, one of my daughters who said, this is about bestiality, and I was, uh, yeah. From Beauty's End, the beast is a prince inside, but from Beauty's End, it's creepy. I just can't. I can't see it the same now. I can't. It's gross. Anyway, go ahead and tell us what.
No, it's okay. I just wondered if you've actually seen the film, the Disney film, the latest one on Beauty and the Beast.
I haven't. I have it on Netflix. And this Beauty and the Beast is my oldest daughter's favorite movie. And I can say that I'm not sure I've actually seen the entire movie ever. But I do have a piece of trivia. Do you know how Chip got his chip?
Chip was the
teacup.
Teacup. No.
Yeah.
No.
The beast flew into a rage and threw his dishes all over and broke them. And Chip was one of those dishes. And they were glued, the dishes were glued back together, but Chip was missing a chip.
Ah.
So think of that. Think of this beast abusing Chip. His dishes spoke to him, and he still threw them around and broke them.
Well, they all come back to life in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a small child he threw across the room.
Yeah.
And broke him. I've never seen the whole thing all the way through.
I'd watch it. I think you should watch it.
You don't think so? You don't think I should watch it?
No, I think you should watch it. I bet it'd make you cry.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll watch it tonight. I'll let you know if I cry.
Okay.
If there was dust in the room. Josh will let you know. Josh goes around and tells everybody, my mom's a crier. Thanks for that. I have a strong persona I have to keep up.
Okay.
Okay. What's your next?
Okay. Rockabye Baby. Now, I'm going to, and I don't mean to bore anyone, but there's lots of different versions of this nursery rhyme. Now, I was going to not tell you all the different versions, but I think I'm going to need to. So I apologise. Some of them are quite similar. So the first printed version was in a selection of nursery rhymes called Mother Goose. Now, everybody's heard of Mother Goose.
Mm-hmm.
In 1765. And it has the following lyrics. Rockabye baby on the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the cradle rocks, the baby will fall. And down will come baby, cradle and all. Now, another version from 1805 is quite different, actually. Rockabye baby, the cradle is green. Father's a nobleman, mother is a queen. Rockabye baby, thy cradle is green. Father's a nobleman, mother's a queen. And Aggie's a lady who wears a gold ring, and Johnny's a drummer and drums for the king. That's another version from 1916. Right. This is the full version. This is the version that I learned as a kid. And have you heard any of them other two versions?
Yeah, the first one.
So see if you've heard this one. Rockabye baby in the treetop. When the wind blows, the cradle will rock. When the bough breaks, the cradle will fall. Down will come baby, cradle and all. Baby is drowsy, cosy and fair. Mother sits near in her rocking chair. Forwards and back the cradle she swings. Though baby sleeps, he hears what she sings. Rockabye baby, do not fear. Never mind, baby, mother is near. Wee little fingers, eyes shut tight. Now sleep sound until morning light. That is the full version. Have you heard that one?
No, I never have.
I've actually heard that one.
You have? Jeremy, did you say that to everybody or just us?
To everybody.
Oh, you've heard that version?
Yeah, my mom used to sing that one to me.
Really?
Yes.
It doesn't seem the after the cradle falls, those two don't seem to go together very well.
Yeah, it's a bit odd.
We might be able to explain why in a minute.
Okay.
Various theories exist to explain the origins of the rhyme. One theory suggests the rhyme narrates a mother gently rocking her baby to sleep, as if the baby were riding the treetops during a breeze. Then when the mother lowers the baby into her crib, the song says, "Down will come baby." Another identifies the rhyme as the first poem written on American soil, suggesting it dates from the 17th century and may have been written by an English immigrant who observed the way Native American women rocked their babies in birch bark cradles, which were suspended from branches of trees, allowing the wind to rock the baby to sleep. In Derbyshire,
In Derbyshire. Hey.
In Derbyshire, England, local legend has it the song relates to a local character in the late 18th century, Betty Kenny, who lived with her husband Luke and their 8 children in a huge yew tree in Shiny Cliff Woods in the Derwent Valley, where a hollowed out brough served as a cradle. Yet another theory was that the lyrics, like the tune, is sung to refer to events immediately preceding the Glorious Revolution, and the baby is supposed to be the son of King James VII, who was widely believed to, I will say that again, who was widely believed to be someone else's child smuggled into the birthing room in order to provide a Roman Catholic heir, heir for James. The wind may be a Protestant wind or force blowing or coming from the Netherlands, bringing James' nephew and son-in-law, William of Orange, who would eventually depose King James II in the Revolution. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, another theory is that the song is based around a 17th century ritual that took place after a newborn baby had died. The mother would hang the child from a basket on the branch of a tree, and waited to see if he would come back to life. The line, "When the bough breaks, the baby will fall," would suggest that the baby was a dead weight, so heavy enough to break the branch, which is quite sad.
Yeah. Huh.
So, I'm sorry I had to repeat the nursery rhyme 64,000 times. But, I think that's really, really interesting, personally.
That's very interesting. And how weird is it that I just, I was talking about Derbyshire. Yes. That's interesting. I like the concept of the Native Americans, of it being about the Native Americans and them putting the babies in the trees to swing with the wind.
Yeah, I thought you might like that.
Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Huh.
But it's a bit sad at the end.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of backstory to that one as well, which I liked, and it was easy to to sort of get behind it and find out different aspects of it. I really enjoyed that one.
You know, that one is one that I've always found weird. Even as a child, I thought it was weird that down will come baby, cradle and all. I was like, that's going to leave a mark. Why are we talking? I don't understand why we would think that that was a good nursery rhyme. It's always been weird to me. Maybe it's because I grasped the concept of the baby falling out of the tree. And thought, that sounds messed up. Interesting.
I'm just looking at Rockabye Baby with a Dixie melody. But that was interesting. It's just about the music. It's at the back of this. And a song based on the Rockabye song. A song based off the Lullaby from Clean Bandit and Sean Paul and Anne Marie.
Huh.
Have you heard that Rockabye song?
Maybe.
When they're all in that bar, that old bar, and when Sean Paul's doing the rap, that they're all talking.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's taken from the music is taken from the nursery rhyme.
Oh, that's weird. Huh. I didn't even think about that.
No, David, to be quite honest with you, I haven't actually read this back bit because it's just about the music. But it's, I would like to listen to it with a Dixie sort of melody. That would be quite good.
Yeah, I like Dixie music. That's because I like New Orleans. Okay, I've got a couple of short ones to do. So I'm gonna do Mulan, and I'm gonna do Pinocchio, and that is my last ones. So, Mulan. The Disney story is that Mulan is a girl with a cricket and a dragon who pretends to be a man to fight in the Chinese army against the Huns. After showing her valor, Mulan wins the war and goes back home to play with her crickets. The original story and I don't know how to pronounce his first name, Hua, but it's a Chinese name, so I'm not sure if. Anyway, in the original Hua, Mulan's poem, China loses the war. The Khan from the enemy lets Mulan live with the condition that she lives with him. So Mulan escapes from being with him, and when she arrives home, she discovers that her father is dead and her mother has remarried. And then she says, I am a woman. I survived the war, and I have done enough. Now I want to be with my father. And she kills herself.
Wow.
Yeah, that's dark. Pinocchio, even darker. Here we go. In the Disney's version, Pinocchio is the son of an old carpenter who always wanted a son, so he made one out of wood. On his way to school, Pinocchio puts his father's life in danger, and in the end, he becomes a real boy. In the original story, Jeremy, do you have the pictures for this going up? Okay. In the original story by Carlo Collodi, Pinocchio is, and I'm quoting here, an asshole. Since I know, since he was created, he behaves badly. He steals things and is disrespectful, and at one point his father calls him a wretched lad. One day, as a consequence of his actions, a cat and a fox hang him from a willow tree and watch him die while he swings in the wind. That's the original Pinocchio.
Rockabye Baby.
Yeah. At least there was no raping. Not in Mulan or Pinocchio. Finally. Finally. Yeah. That is. When I saw that, I love Pinocchio. That was crazy dark. And I found the pictures of the original story and sent them to Jeremy to put on. And yeah, they're sitting there watching him hang from a tree.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross. It's so disgusting. And here's the thing. He was made out of wood. Why didn't his father just start over? Just be like, fireplace, next.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not a real boy. Put him in the fireplace. Whatever. Just go let him be hung.
You could have a little production line, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could. Till he finally gets the one he likes. This is it. I like this one. I had a really good time doing the research on these. And Rob and I talked about it this morning, and we're going to do a podcast on the darker side of Disney, which I think will be a lot of fun. And Jory will probably hurt me over, because Jory and his wife are huge Disney fans, and he's not going to want to hear the darker stories about Disney. He probably knows some. I mean, he is very intelligent, like his mother. Just saying. Josh, how did who die, Josh? What are you asking me, Josh? Oh, Josh wants to know how he died by hanging because he was made of wood. Yeah, I don't know. It's a fairy tale. They're weird.
It's a good job you're not big-headed or anything, is it?
What?
It's a good job you're not big-headed or anything, isn't it?
Okay. Which one of us was on Instagram with a video? That's all I'm going to say.
That's
all I'm going to say.
Instagram.
Yeah, you put a video on Instagram.
About what? You got me all worried now.
About how handsome you are.
Oh, it wasn't meant like. It was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. You might be big-headed. By the way, Mad Meerkat says he died from woodworm. Anyway, so I actually don't have a big ego. That's my insecurities coming out. I'm actually just a frail, scared little girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not. By the way, Josh just laughed at that. Okay. Is there any questions? Is there anything you need to know about me that you don't know already? Because I always tell some weird stories.
I have a question for Rob.
Okay. Jeremy has a question for Rob.
All right, mate.
All right. So I've wanted to know this for a long time. How do you pronounce Worcestershire sauce?
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Wait, what?
Worcestershire. Americans pronounce it the Shire.
Yeah.
It's hang on. Worcestershire.
I pronounce it Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, just don't pronounce the Shire.
But go ahead.
Worcester. Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcestershire.
Okay, fair enough.
Worcestershire.
That's it.
Worcestershire.
Yeah, that's it. You've got it right there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't call that Shire. That's weird. Okay, now am I confused? In like the Hobbit books, do they not live in a Shire?
Yes, they do.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, well, that's
Thank
not
you.
real.
Wait, what?
It's not real.
It's not real.
You're like, Harry Potter's not real. We don't live
No.
in.
That's not true. Yeah, that's enough right now. It is real. But they say Shire, and they have like a British accent. They don't say they live in a shire. I think that's why we say Shire. Don't you think, Jeremy?
I think so.
It's like Lancashire. You say Lancashire. It's Lancashire. Like
Shire.
Worcestershire. Like Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
It's not Worcestershire.
Right. Okay. Okay. But they do live in shires in The Hobbit. I'm just
Well,
saying.
they could live on the moon. It doesn't matter because it's not real.
But, okay, so there's no place in England that you would say they live in a shire.
Not anymore. It might have done in the 1800s, but not anymore.
I am mad about that. Now that has ruined my childhood. Thanks a lot. Okay. You got any more questions, Jeremy?
No, that was the one.
Do you want me to send you a link to his Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not on Instagram.
It is on Instagram. That's where I saw it.
I'm going to have to check Instagram.
Yeah, you better. Leave it there, though. Leave it.
It was meant to be ironic because I've got such a lot of scars and lumps and bumps on my head that you can only see when I have a shave. It was meant to be like tongue in cheek type thing. It wasn't meant to me saying that, wow, look at me, I'm so beautiful. Because obviously I'm not. I'm not exactly Brad Pitt, am I?
Sure, yeah.
Oh.
Leave it up.
And I've got a big cut on my eye where I fell over.
I saw that. What happened to you?
Balance was bad, and I just fell and banged my eye. But it's not unusual.
You
I
need
hurt
to
my head.
come up with a better story.
That's the truth.
You need to come up with a better story. Like somebody tried to break into your flat.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't say I fell over.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's called lying.
It's called embellishing. You don't know. There could have been somebody outside your door. You don't know. I'm just saying. Or say it was paranormal.
Yeah, it was paranormal. I got attacked by a ghost.
It's possible. As a matter of fact, well, I'll talk to you guys about that later. Yeah. Anyway, if we're done, then I think we hit record speed this time.
2 hours, 7 minutes.
Yeah. Not too bad. So I'm going to do a podcast, like I said, with Jory next week. I have no idea what it's about. And I'll have new content up this week because I'm Joy's gone, and I'm back to being all alone. And so I have all the time in the world. And don't forget the Patreon. Go check it out. You can check it out. It's free to check it out. If you guys want to sub to Twitch, that's up to you too. And the plan, like I said, is that all that money will go towards being able to make merchandise to be able to do for giveaways and for sale. And we have a lot of ideas. We should put that picture of you up, Rob.
Oh, dear me.
We should put that on a shirt.
Why don't you want any? Do you not want anybody to buy anything?
And it can say, not bad.
I'm never going to live this down, am I?
No. No, you're not. It's okay. It's all in fun.
Okay, thank you.
It might not be that fun for you, though.
I'm sure these people don't want to listen to this.
Okay, and by the way, if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. And this will come up as a video. And if you're watching it on YouTube, please click the like button and go ahead and give ideas for podcasts. We welcome that, or ideas for strange crime mysteries or mysterious murders. I, as you know, love doing that. And please click the bell. YouTube will not notify you of my new content unless you click that bell. So it's very important. And Rob has a Facebook page, and it is called Paranormal and Supernatural World. I have a Facebook page, and I think is there a link down below to my Facebook page, Jeremy? Yeah. Since moderator Maya is not here today, we don't have the links to stuff. So my bad. But go over, and if you go push the link to my Facebook page, Rob posts there all the time. You'll be able to follow the trail to Rob's page, and he posts a lot of interesting paranormal and movie stuff about new scary movies that are coming out, and a lot of interesting stuff. So on my page and his, he works very hard, and I appreciate it. So go check that out. And I guess if that is all, we'll say good night. Right?
Good night.
You want to say good night, Jeremy?
And they lived happily ever after.
After the raping. Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.